Well, okay. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode, I guess, of the Raw Intuition Health Show. It's a Thursday, so it's not our typical Sunday, but my friend Chantal D. Donato has blood work that we're going to go over today and just discuss. She has been vegan for 12 years, and so we're gonna look at that blood work and just kind of, you know, go over some of it and discuss some things that, other people might want to pay attention to as well. So let's bring Chantal on the show. What's up, Chantal?
Hi, Matt. First
Hey.
of all, you're amazing for 7 a.m.
Ah, I thank
I did
you.
not
Thank you.
expect
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It must be the lighting.
that. Well, it's a diet as well, isn't it?
I, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Waking up
Yes.
not feeling happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. You look amazing as well. 12 years vegan, and so you had some blood work done recently. And just before we get into that, can you let everybody in my audience that might not know? I know you've been on the show before, but can you just share where people can find you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm right now at Liveling Health, but also Cycles Wellness.
Mm.
I'm actually rebranding to Cycles Wellness because I have really niched into working with women's hormones and wellness from perimenopause all the way to postmenopause. I felt compelled to really focus on that because I feel like as women we are underserved. There's a lot of misinformation. Every time I find a doctor that finally is looking at HRT and nutrition and different things, they are finally understanding that we were not trained. And also, as a naturopathic doctor, I was not trained in HRT. I became quite a fan of it. I know a lot of people might disagree with this, but the research shows a lot that can be done with that. Now, it's a personal choice, it's not compulsory, but we need to look at everything and not be dogmatic.
Hmm.
So I just really decided to focus on women. And I guess also because of my own journey, when I started getting healthy, I realized so much of it had to do with hormones, which again, I'm actually the reason why we're having this conversation as well is because I'm in a place where I need to pay attention to my hormones.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's really so L Live Lean Health and at Cycle Wellness. I'm on both pages.
Okay, terrific. Well, I will link that all in the description box down below. I do already have a couple down there, so I'll get the um, cycle wellness. Is that wait,
Cycles Wellness, yeah.
cycles wellness? All right, I'll get that down there as well. So, all right. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your blood work. I know that's some people might feel pretty vulnerable doing that. So it's very admirable for you to be sharing this information and discussing it. So yeah, let's kind of get into that. What are some of the highlights that you have? What do you want to discuss so far?
So, well, first of all, like we discussed offline, the reason why I wanted to go through it is to demystify a lot of the things that are in the vegan space online, but actually not really from vegan, from people that are either no longer vegan or are not vegan at all, to talk about how deficient we are as vegans.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually did a few panels of my blood work. So the first one is just a full blood work, and I want to share to also. Uh, I think I have the responsibility of somebody that is online is quite visible to be honest about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And also to show that I personally take responsibility for everything, including what my blood says. So the first one we can go through, and I shared it with you, so I'm not making it up.
Yep,
And
I've got it here in front of me.
yeah, so I think we can go through and it's in Portuguese. I apologize, but because I'm in Portugal,
Yeah,
so
yeah, it's okay. I could figure most of it out.
yeah, because most of the same like kind of language anyway.
Yeah.
So um, I will go through the blood count first. So we'll go through the major big one.
Okay.
Uh, so here we have let me just see. So my blood work when we look at the hemograms, so the red blood and the white blood,
Yep.
everything is perfect. Like there is not one thing that shows infection or inflammation or lack of vitamins. So my blood my blood volume is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So everything actually really looks pretty good. Like my hemoglobin, my
Yep.
electrolytes, my electrocytes. So everything really I was very happy, and I didn't expect less.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very happy. Then the CRP, sorry, I'm reading in Portuguese, that's why sometimes the name might be funny. Sorry, guys.
Sure.
The CRP is basically an inflammation marker. My
Mm-hmm.
inflammation marker is like really low, 0.14,
Yeah.
and it should be less than 0.50. So again, there's no issue there. Glucose, so fasting glucose 84, and I came from having type 2 diabetes,
Yep.
which I reversed on a whole food plant-based diet. So for me to have 84, I'm actually quite happy.
Yeah, that's great.
And I eat a lot of fruit, and these things can vary. Some mornings it can be higher than others. I think it's normal. Also, the way that you sleep makes an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how much you sleep. Also, if you go when you go for your blood work, I mean, I did tell them that I exercise before going there. That can raise the glucose levels.
Sure.
But it's when you do the test, normally it's not like the prick. The prick might show a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
But that morning, I actually also pricked my finger to make sure, and it was 84 when I woke up as well. So this stayed stable after the yoga class too.
Okay.
Urea levels here is a little bit high, so it's normal, but it's
Mm-hmm.
44. And then BAN, so that's uric acid is 21, so 1 point higher than it should be. And this is one thing I want to talk about. So this symbolizes protein in the blood. So
Mm-hmm.
when people say that we are deficient in protein as vegans, I'm like, I beg the question to actually look at this.
Right.
This would be concerning if I had high creatine, or if my filtering in my kidneys were a mess. But actually, this is not the case. Everything is perfect. So this indicates I was eating a bit too much protein, which is true. And I will go into, I'll mention why. I found, like, I'm almost fully vegan. I'm mostly raw vegan.
Okay.
Sorry, not fully, mostly raw vegan, but I'm not 100%. So I have things like tofu.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the crazy stress that I've been through, and the truth is that I really have been struggling to make the time to have proper meals and eat, one thing that I found so helpful is to have tofu on the go, because I actually like it without even cooking it again, because it's already cooked, the beans are cooked.
Yep.
So I probably had too much of it. Like, there were days that I had definitely upwards of 500 grams, which is a lot, even if I train. Okay, I do resistance training. So that is the why this is higher, combined with actually a little bit of dehydration.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed myself again not making the time to drink enough. So now I'm making like big bottles or cups of herbal tea to make sure that I'm hydrated, because
Yeah.
protein is dehydrating. And obviously we want to make sure that we are balancing out everything. And then I also noticed, because we eat so much as vegans, we eat a lot of potassium.
Mm-hmm.
We need to balance it out with sodium. Now that can come from things like celery, which I actually have in my juice every morning, but I started putting more salt. I've noticed myself doing.
Yeah.
So I had to scale it back because I wasn't drinking enough. So this is really symbolizing, and I checked with my doctor as well, the dehydration level.
Yep.
So again, vegans are not protein deficient. We get proteins from everything. I got it only really from tofu. Again, I didn't even make an effort to have other things. But veggies have protein. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like I never met anybody that is protein deficient. And this is like proves actually I had too much.
Yeah.
So I put it back to 200 grams a day.
Nice.
Um,
I'll
and I,
say every time I've done blood work as well, my
yeah,
protein is right at the top of the
yeah,
range. So, and
yeah,
that's both when I've been pretty much 100% raw, and
yeah,
when I've been more of like a raw centered or high raw. So,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And this is why I love blood work. And I think we need to do them to actually understand where we are on this picture.
Yeah.
uh, because again you can make changes. Like, I would have never known, right? And God knows, like, if I kept not hydrating myself,
Hmm.
that would have impact long term, right?
Yeah.
Not just the hits, which I didn't actually get. So that's interesting. Then cholesterol. So my total cholesterol is 175, which and should be less than 200, which is perfect.
Yep.
And my HDL and my LDL are actually the same amount, so 82. So way below 100, which is the conservative assigned amount, milligrams per deciliter.
Yep.
So this is pretty, pretty good. And my triglycerides with all the fruit and fructose from fruit that I eat is 55.
Right. That's low.
Super low, right? So we're good there.
Yeah. Yeah, and for people that don't know, yeah, it's triglycerides are basically fat in the blood.
Yeah,
So,
in
yeah,
the liver.
that's great.
And especially in the liver, that sits in the liver and they
Sure.
can cause fatty liver. So,
Yep.
and this is where, again, the misinformation about high fructose, which is based on high fructose concentrates from extracted fructose from plants like corn, for example. Even
Yep.
agave nectar. I keep on telling people
Hmm.
agave is not a healthy food. It's not a healthy sweetener. I know that it became popular even in the raw food, camp, but it is fructose, high fructose concentrate. So please don't have that. Have your maple syrup.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, like let's just scale it back. Or dates are even better, so that you actually have the whole food.
Yes.
Um, then my alanine. So that we're looking at the enzymes in the liver, 26. So way below, like fine, perfectly. So this is my first document. I had to do 3 different blood tests because if I had done requested every blood work I wanted in one go, this is
Hmm.
so stupid. It is the case. I would have paid over 600 euro.
Wow.
This took me to 400. So I know it's still a lot, but
Yeah.
it's 200 less, so
Y-
it's much better. So
Sure.
that was the document. So that, I'm really happy, like especially with as I'm getting older, I'm in perimenopause in my 40s. Uh, Cholesterol is something that I really want to pay attention to, because even women that never had a problem with cholesterol before going into menopause, sometimes they find themselves around the age of menopause where they start seeing a big increase without having changed anything in their lifestyle. Now,
Hmm.
of course, being on a raw food, and mostly like I don't eat any oil. I don't like it. I find that I feel better without them. I eat whole fats, but having this lifestyle where I don't have saturated fats, and it really helps. Like I really think it does help. And obviously my levels are okay,
Yep.
which is helpful for hormones as well. Um,
Yep.
the other document we have here.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight, and you highlighted it beautifully, but the dehydrate, like people's hydration level, it is so important, especially to keep everything working correctly, keep things from getting too concentrated and coagulating and things. It's so important to have the hydration in your lifestyle on point. Because, yeah, I mean, even if you're eating an incredible diet, if you're dehydrated, it can still cause some imbalances. So it's just so important. I just wanted to just highlight that.
Exactly. Perfect. So my second document, it's the one that starts with the velocidade de sedimento, so the sediment, that just basically tells you per hour. It
Okay.
tells you how
Yep.
thick your blood is. And mine is 7, which
Hmm.
is perfect. Should be less than 20. And it's funny because when I went to get the blood work, like you notice these things, but when I went to get the blood work this time, it was pretty easy to come out and not thick. When I had type 2 diabetes and I didn't know, finally went for my blood work because I was like, okay, I really am not feeling well. When I went, my blood was struggling to get out of the veins. Like it was so thick. I was
Yeah.
like, it's syrup. I'm like, oh my, I'm like, it was crazy. And I mentioned it, I got myself there by eating a vegan diet, but I was so stressed. I was going through so many things in my life that I was cooking for a few people in my family with they stayed home with me through COVID. And it was just to make it easier. It was like a lot of pasta, a lot of bread, a lot of BioLife cheese, which is very fatty, and I was also comforting my struggle emotionally with a lot of like sweet things.
Hmm.
So, but it's the fat and the sweet. It's not just the sweet that is a problem. Like again, with fruit, which is sweet, I reversed it. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. Like you stop paying attention to little details, and I think this is what we need to learn to do. Like your body, it's yours, and you know better than anybody else.
Yep.
I use diagnostics to see where I'm in my picture, in my journey, but I will make the choices that I want to make. If I had listened to the doctor when my A1C was like 6 point something,
Hmm.
uh, like metformin, I'm like, are you shitting me? I'm not going on metformin. I can know
Good choice.
exactly what myself here,
Yes.
So I try if it's something because it could be genetic. I'm like the only thing genetic in my family is the bad habits.
Yep. Yep.
So no. Um, so yeah, I did that. My ferritin, which is my iron, and again, a lot of vegans are concerned about iron. Iron, it's 34. Now, of course, the minimum is 10, so 34 is actually a pretty good range, although it
Perfect.
can go up to 20 to 91. In naturopathy, we learned this, and I don't know how allopathy look at it, but in naturopathy, we want the range to be a little bit lower because,
Yeah.
again, iron can impact our body and our organs in a negative way. There is a difference, of course, between heme iron and plant iron. So I don't get heme iron because I don't need animals. So, it's probably expected to be 34, be a good range, but I'm not deficient. And to be honest with you, I don't often feel tired. I notice my tiredness and fatigue for 1 or 2 days, which is related to my hormones
Hmm.
rather
Yeah.
than actual. I never thought it was iron, but we wanted to check. And as I said, I did like a proper MOT here. Then my A1C, 5.4.
Mm, good job. Yep.
Yeah,
And you
my
were,
meat
what was it when you were
six
diagnosed as
point
diabetic?
six point four.
6.4.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
got it. So this takes me in a good range. It should be less than 5.7 not to be pre-diabetic. Then hemoglobin, well, like basically the IFCC. I don't know how that translates in English.
Okay.
Um, but 35 is less than 39, so it is good.
Yep.
My medium glucose per day, it's 107, which is good. So my glucose doesn't spike crazily. And again, I talk about spikes with the caveat that spikes are normal,
Right.
a physiological reaction to eating food. It will go up, so it tells your pancreas to release insulin to then bring the glucose from your blood into the cell for the mitochondria to make energy. So it's not crazy to have a spike.
Yeah.
And so, for people that follow the people that embrace that mentality that you should have spikes. um, then the cholesterol VLDL, it's 10. I had to do it separately from the other document for that reason. Like this is consolidating some things. So it's minus 30. It's your optimal range, so it's good. Calcium, which again, calcium is funny because it's not exactly what's in your bones. This is what's in the blood.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's 9.77. If you want to know what your bones are doing, you have to go for a DEXA scan.
Right.
But it's 9.77. And so, yeah, it's within range.
Yep.
It should be 870 to 1040. Magnesium, it's 2. So it should be between 1.6 to 2.6. So 2 is pretty good. Transferase, again, it's the liver. It's not in the same document as the other one. It's 9. It should be less than 38. We're good to go here. Insulin, it's 2.5, and it's actually quite low. So I'm actually insulin sensitive.
Yeah.
The minimum is 3 to 25, so 2.5 is quite low. But again, it's just insulin sensitivity, which is good considering that I came from insulin resistance, right? So
Right. Right.
causes diabetes. Now, I have here some of the thyroid, and then there's another document for thyroid. T3 is 2.3, which is it's in range, but it's really the cut of the lower side. And we'll talk about it in a minute. PTH, 35. I don't actually know how this translates. I apologize. Let me see if I can see it here. I should be able to find it. PTH.
I'm just pulling that one up. So we're on which document? Is this still the second
We are in,
document?
no, this is the one that starts with the BDS, Naora, Velocidade de Sedimento. It's the second one, I think.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
number three. Three.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Gotcha.
trying to translate it. Let me see. So that we can have a good read of that one.
Yeah.
So I think it's with the hormones.
Yeah, just to reiterate what you said about the ferritin being towards the lower end of the range. Yeah, that's what I understand as well. As that's where you want to be because like the iron is a pro-oxidant, and so when you have too much iron, it actually increases oxidative stress in the body. So having it be lower is really ideal. You want to be towards that lower end of the range. So 34, yeah, I think is awesome.
Yes. Sorry. PTH, intacta. Sorry, Portuguese. My Portuguese is terrible. It's parathyroid hormone.
Oh, okay.
Uh, which is nice that they test. Well, again, I kind of asked. I have an amazing doctor, and I experiment with different gynecologists all the time to see what they know, and they don't know anything, which is really sad.
Yeah.
This one is amazing. She really understands what's going on. So when we're talking about testing everything, she really be like, yeah, we also test the parathyroid. But parathyroid for me is fine. It's 35, and the range is 1988, so that's a good sign.
Yep.
FSH, so follicle stimulating, my result is 2.3. The reference is 2.3 to 4.2. Now I'm gonna start talking about actually here now why I also went for the blood work. I generally go once a year to do just the basic one.
Yep.
I added these because since July, I have been facing hypothalamic amenorrhea. So that in plain English, it means I'm not getting my cycle. I'm not getting my period. Um, the reason people, of course, say that, oh, it's a vegan diet. The reason this is happening is that and you know this because you're my friend, and I've shared with you in our conversations, but online I've shared a little bit of it, but I've been going through a very, very stressful 2 years.
Mhm.
And this year, since about May, my stress levels had gone a little bit out of control. Um, and again, I have a lot of projects that I'm working on right now because just basically putting my life back together from changing. I came here with my husband to have a farm, to have retreats. I got sick. I got better, and I realized that I didn't feel like I had the support that I needed and wanted from the person that I thought would be giving it to me, and it basically broke down our marriage. And I am very strong, and I didn't get myself in a pitiful victimhood state, but I had to make some choices, one of which was, leaving the farm. I go there only once a week to see my dogs. I still look after him. I bring him food. I cook for him for the week because he doesn't drive. He refuses to drive a manual car. Probably not that one. It's like, I need I need to drive an automatic. Okay, but
Yeah.
I'll carry it. um, and he's a bit he wants to be a bit of a hermit, and there are certain things that just at the same time. So I won't share this now. It's on my I talk about it on my podcast. I share a little bit online. I will be sharing more, but this year has been quite intense emotionally. So to be honest with you, I was preparing for a retreat for women in June, and I had so many things happening at the same time. Some days I forgot to have more than one meal. I haven't I use my lumen, and only because of this device I know how many calories I'm having. Otherwise I wouldn't know because I don't count calories. But basically I wasn't even hitting 1,000.
Wow.
So I have been depleting my body, and this is not because of a vegan diet. This is truly because I wasn't eating enough. So, and as vegans, especially as raw vegans, we have to eat a lot. And I mean,
Mm.
I was eating a lot of volume, but like my, big salads are salads. So I couldn't be bothered with remembering to do like the more carb, like the more uh, calorie rich fruits, and I was just skimping around, just trying to basically get over it, like get done.
Mhm.
And to manage my stress, I started going to the gym, and that's just for the stress, but also I'm like, okay, I need to really work on lifting some weights. I haven't done it in years. I'll do yoga every day, and I had a good muscle definition, but strength, I was like, I need to work a little bit more on strength so that when I in a couple of years I won't be like crumbling down.
Mm.
But I think because of the deficiency in calories, which I wasn't paying attention to because I was running around, and adding lifting, basically my body was like, okay, woman, you just don't have enough in your tank to ovulate and procreate. So we're going to shut things down.
Sure.
So the FSH being at 2.3 makes a lot of sense because that's basically telling my hypothalamus to not do not send any signal to the ovaries to ovulate. This is not going to happen.
Mhm.
This woman not have a baby, okay? No baby. So that's why. And again, I want to share it because I feel it's so important to be candid about these things, and also say, people have commented online, well, oh, you lost weight, you look too thin, you're not eating. I am eating, and I'm just not eating enough for the activity level that I started having. And it's been actually quite challenging for me to do that even now. I pay attention, I have more, and I'm adding more fats, but I don't, as I said, I really, there is just so much that I can do. And I can't cook all the time because in my transitioning time where I am right now, um, I don't have a full kitchen all the time. So I have to base my diet on raw, and I don't like eating at night because I really don't sleep well.
Hmm.
Sometimes I will try and have something before 6 p.m. So those things have happened, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing that not enough people give give value to is the level of stress in their life. I mean, stress and how you deal with stress. Even if you're great at dealing with stress, like I know you have so many great holistic mental, emotional practices that you do. Your yoga, meditation, all these things, breath work. But even still, when life life can be very stressful at points, especially in situations like you've been going through, and it's it's easy if to let it kind of snowball. I mean, you've done so great at managing it as best that you can, and but I do see a lot of people out there that that have come to me for coaching, and I just see how stressful and hectic their lives are, and that's like one of the biggest things to help people focus on. It's not even the diet so much, it's just getting their mental and emotional state under control and finding just as much balance as possible in their life to help, and just focusing on that will help with lab work, but just their quality of life, and just ensuring that going forward that they're gonna have the best health outcomes regardless how well they're eating. I think that's such an important thing to focus on for just overall wellness.
Yeah. And I say the danger zone for me is that because I'm so resilient, I have moments where I feel overwhelmed, like, but there are moments. And then because, as you said, I have the tools, I've harnessed these tools for a long time because
Hmm.
stress was killing me
Yeah.
before, and I don't feel stress. And that's the danger zone because you might not feel stress, like you feel emotionally overwhelmed for a moment, then you go back, okay, I'm going to breathe. I can only do what I can do, the rest. And so you're like, okay. And then I always manage to do what I need to do.
Hmm.
I mean, right now I'm putting a conference together literally on my own, um, in Braga, which is all about, again, veganism, and it's about sustainability. Like, we are actually planning something for November. Like, we have a lot of stuff that we put on our plate because I don't feel like I'm working. I love it so much that for me it's part of me. So my job is my life. I don't feel like, oh, I go to work and I need to get away from it. I love what I do. I love working with women. I love helping them. Yes, I get frustrated when they don't help themselves because I cannot work magic. I mean, I'm not that good. Like, I
I don't know.
cannot read your brain and make you do things, do them.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you become so resilient that you don't feel the stress, that's when it gets you. And so
Yep.
for me, that's been it because I've been going and, feeling good and energetic. And then my body's like, okay, yo, this is not good. Um, so yes, that has been that's the danger zone. So if you're somebody that manages stress well, check in with how you're managing stress
Yeah.
well because
Yeah.
that. Um, yeah, absolutely. So I'll carry on going through here, like, so luteinizing hormone, also 2.4. Um, Actually, let me just say TSH. Okay, TSH mean normal. So the thyroid functions are fine. T4 is fine, but because T3 is low, it's not converting. So
Mm.
T3 is the active form of thyroid hormone. And again, it won't convert if you don't have enough in your tank. So this is what's happening. My metabolism is trying to slow down, not to make me burn too much than it can handle. Like, according to my smart, uh, scales, my metabolic rate is 1,243, which is actually quite low for a person of my height, but my weight has dropped quite a lot. So my fat percentage is barely 16%. So it's really low. I am trying to really put more on, and I have to be wary that it will change my body a little bit. And because I come from anorexia and body dysmorphia, it's a scary thing. So that is that added part that I'm aware of, and I have to like just surrender to the fact that I want to be healthy, not skinny.
Hmm.
Um, because you get used to seeing yourself in a certain way, you don't pay attention to it, but you see yourself in a certain way, and then you have to change a little bit. And I'm not gonna lie that I don't freak out when I eat more. I do.
Yeah.
My response, my when I before eating, I'm like, I'm going to do it because it's good for me, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, no, this is your monkey mind, that brainwashing that you grew up with, the calorie counting, the worry about this is not reality. You look okay and you need to put on some weight. So we're not anorexic anymore. Stop the bullshit.
Yeah.
So this is the way, like, you have to talk to yourself about all these changes. You have to be really mindful. I feel it's so important. So yeah, and again, I want to be candid about these things because I work with this, but like nobody's perfect, and we all struggle with something. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so T3 SHBG basically is a liver binding hormone binding compound. But what it does, because I am low body fat, low calories, it will not allow the conversion of thyroid hormone. So when you have high SHBG and low T3, that's an indication either that you have hypothyroidism, but because the other stuff is fine, and we can see from the hormones it is actually related to amenorrhea. Estradiol is low normal, which again makes sense. And probably because I eat a lot of plants that have phytoestrogen, it's helping a little bit.
Hmm.
But my progesterone is very low, which is why when I went for my gynecologist check, my lining of the uterus is very thin because I'm not ovulating. And again, progesterone will not come up. For those of you who like me, unfortunately, like fasting, I can fast I'm really good at fasting because my blood level, my glucose levels are so stable that I don't get dims and I feel bad. I actually feel really
Right.
good when I fast. The problem, progesterone doesn't like fasting. Progesterone needs glucose, needs rest, all things that I really struggle to give myself
Hmm.
because I'm in this rushing mode and I have to be so mindful of. Um, LH and FSH, they are low normal, but again, the brain basically is not pushing the ovaries to do anything. They're like, no, just stay quiet. Prolactin is normal, which is good because this shows that I'm not in menopause. And I don't want to get myself there soon. My TPO, which is basically antibodies, they show no antibodies issues for my thyroid, which is good, which means I don't have autoimmune. So those are really the ones that I went to check. My testosterone is 15, so it's mid range, is low normal. Normally goes between 8 to 35. Could be a little bit higher, but again, you don't want to be too high that you basically start having a beard.
Yeah.
As a woman,
That's my
because
issue.
well, you should have that. So this is good
Yeah.
for the woman. And we want good testosterone. And again, because I don't know where I am in my cycle. I probably am basically in that follicular phase, just there.
Hmm.
That like not really producing anything, is not letting go of anything. I'm definitely not in luteal phase because I haven't ovulated for a couple of months. So it is important to understand these things. The other thing that DHT, well, yeah, I mentioned it before. Folic acid, perfect. Vitamin B12. Let's talk about B12.
Yeah.
Really high. It's very high.
Hmm.
The top range is 911. I'm 1333. I love the numerology in it, but not a good number. Um, it's very high. And okay, this is because I didn't realize that some of the food I was having, like a nutritional yeast, was actually fortified. Nutritional yeast normally has B vitamins, but I was eating one that was fortified. I didn't even pay attention to it. And I was taking then supplements. So I cut out the supplements. I don't need them. And I am just basically, eating food now.
Hmm.
I'm gonna finish the nutritional yeast, but I'm gonna buy one that is not fortified. Other than that, those are the things. So again, we probably, yeah, it's an interesting one, but like you can be deficient in something, but you can also have a lot of it, and a
Right.
lot of it is just not as good, is not good either. So B vitamins are, meant to be water soluble. So hopefully we'll get out of my system quick. Next month I will go and check it again.
Yep.
Zinc is good. I'm at 631. The minimum is 400 to 800. So it's good. Selenium is actually a little bit higher than it should be,
Wow.
which is from a supplement, is not
Okay.
from, yeah, because I was taking a supplement for hair and nails because again, with amenorrhea, when you don't have enough calories, you also start seeing that you can have your hair starts getting thinner, which started happening.
Okay.
And I basically started supplementing with some biotin and selenium. I stopped it and I'm like, okay, let's just have more food that encompasses that rather than the supplements.
Sure.
This is why, because again, too much of a good thing. Um, and then, yeah, then my urine came out perfectly. There's no sign of infection, there is no protein in it, so that's good.
Yeah.
Uh, the pH is normal. Um, and then, yeah, there is no antibodies in it. So I think overall, everything turned out to be okay, and with the expected hormonal stuff that I need to look at. But again, I go back to that taking responsibility for it, which means I know that I have really been neglecting certain things that I need to do, which is having more food and not losing so much weight. I have put
Hmm.
on probably about 2 kilos, still 55 kilos, which is not a lot, but I went down to like 52, which is a lot less than I should be, especially with the muscles that I have. Uh, because I actually am quite muscly
Yeah.
and I need a bit and women, we need a little bit more fat. We do need fat
Yep.
because our fat will support hormonal production.
Right.
So I'm trying to have like one avocado every day, add more seeds. um I have these refeeding days, which basically is when I go to the farm and I have a kitchen. I will make like sweet potatoes and I'll put tahini on top and I have more like a rich meal,
Hmm.
which I was doing regularly when I had access to it, and now I'm not. So it makes a difference. I'm actually considering getting a little air fryer just to make more sweet potatoes and have more of them in my life.
Sure.
Uh, very great for beta carotene, vitamin A. So there is definitely a place for them in my diet, also to increase my calorie intake
Yeah.
and still get high carb, low fat, which is my preference anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this, just your vitamin B12 and the selenium, I think is a great reminder why doing blood tests is important. It's important to check where you're at because you wouldn't have known that you were above the range in B12 and selenium. So you wouldn't have been able to adjust your supplement, regimen. Um, and that's why it's so important. Like you want to know if you're deficient in anything, but you also want to know if you're too high because,
Yeah,
some people just supplement without even looking at the numbers, having anything checked, and that can be a problem as well.
yeah.
You can create imbalances by supplementing. And so if you're going to be supplementing, then you want to know how that's affecting your levels, right? So if you're too high, then you can adjust. So I think that's just important to point out.
I absolutely agree. And, I also want to say again, like at this point, I don't need any supplements.
Mm.
I do take magnesium because as women in perimenopause, magnesium is actually very important. We should take it anyway. And you can't, if you take one magnesium that is different kinds of magnesium
Mm-hmm.
a day, you're in a safe place. But for the rest, I'm really focusing on food only. Um,
Yeah.
and trying, that's why. But I also, you want to check because like actually B12 sometimes can be related to the liver not functioning. Now, thankfully, my liver is working perfectly. My kidneys are working perfectly. So there's no issue there.
Yep.
But say you have issues with your liver and you find yourself, you have B12. I mean, you need to pay attention to these things. So this concept that blood work, we shouldn't do them. Look, you use diagnostics as you want. It's
Mm-hmm.
different when you like, if you let your doctor drive your health, is a different picture than you want to use these diagnostics to see where you're at and then adjust your lifestyle accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also understanding which, really importantly, which supplements we're taking, because a lot of supplements are really chemicals
Right.
and they are, and I know in the US it's like a little bit of a battlefield that you have some really companies that came up that are all based on food,
Yep.
which is, but sometimes some supplements are from the pharmaceutical industry,
Right.
and those, what I mean, not that we don't trust too much the pharmaceutical industry, so
Hmm.
there's always that caveat, especially because they're not regulated. But if you find a company that has them makes them from food, they are food derivative, then I think you can do pretty well here. um, so know your supplements, do some research. It's easier in Europe, I feel, sometimes, although it's still a battlefield. But now there are some people that are really working hard, they're sharing brands that are food sourced. Maybe a green powder like the one that I actually promote, the new zest, because they really are, they have everything in it, but they are from food.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's a good alternative if you don't want to actually take supplements, but it's a green powder. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, that's a very something to pay attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's absolutely differences in the companies, like pretty much anything, right? Like there's gonna be companies out there that are ethical and doing things, the right way, and then there's others out there that are putting things in their supplements that aren't even listed on the label, or the amounts are not even close to being correct. So yeah, there's good companies, there's bad companies, and you just gotta find some good companies out there. And like you said, whole food supplements are gonna be the best type of supplement, I think as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that it's probably smart to throw everything out the door, because there's some bad companies out there, and there's definitely some bad supplements out there. Um, so yeah, you just gotta use discernment and do your research, and like you said, um, you can use green powders and things like that as well, that are really not even supplements. They're just dehydrated, concentrated plants.
Food.
Yeah, food.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. And I see, yeah, I thought it was important to share this for many, as I said at the beginning, to be transparent, that even though I work with hormones, I know better. I have let my lifestyle, or my what I've been going through, my struggles that I've been going through emotionally, take over my life. And then I thought, if I'm busier, I don't have to think about a lot of the emotional things that I'm going through. So, and unfortunately, that does impact um, your body at some point, especially if you're someone that is very resilient and like, I don't feel stressed, because I really don't feel stressed.
Hmm.
My body is stressed. And so progesterone is like, I'm sleeping. Thank you very much. And by the way, I sleep well. I really, for all purposes, like I sleep well. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel often overwhelmed. I have, as I said, moments, and then I calm myself down, and I'm good to go. I don't have the symptoms of declining generic hormones that would suggest even going into menopause. But I definitely don't want to get. This has been a few months now, since July. It's not long, and so I want to tackle it and nip it in the bud now, so it doesn't become a long-term problem. Because actually, the longer you go, the more the impact on all your organs, and especially my thyroid. I really care for this to work well,
Yeah.
um, because the last thing I want to do is create a problem where I then have to be on medication.
Right. Yep. Yep. Being proactive and just having awareness of where you're at with so many things. And like you said, like if you're a strong person, like a strong-minded person like you are, and you can like go through stressful periods and not even feel like you're stressed, because you're just so focused on, doing what you're doing. Yeah, like people, I think that's one of the reasons why meditation, or just sitting in silence, in the morning or at night, before bed or something, to really just kind of really tap in and feel how your body is feeling, as much as you can, so that you can maybe catch some flags, or just like feel like, oh yeah, wow, I'm actually really tense, or like my mind won't stop running. Like there's just little things that can tell you if maybe you do need to work a little bit more on processing emotions, or releasing tension in the body, or releasing emotions, that might be unknowingly getting stored up. And whether it's stress, or whether it's a deficiency of something, it's not going to always show up right away, but over time it can really wear away at you. And then one day you just kind of run into an issue that seems like it came out of nowhere, but really it's just been building up because you haven't taken the time to become aware of that and pay attention to it and be able to release it or correct it. So yeah, I think mindfulness, like you said earlier, is just such a key part of our long-term health, as well as just keeping us balanced in the present as well.
I will also, if you don't mind me adding about hypothalamic amenorrhea, if anybody's having this, if any women are facing this, I mean, the protocol to get better with it is not just upping your calories, but also, and this is where I struggle and I'm not able to do it just yet, is letting go of exercise for a while.
Mm,
Now, my job requires me to also be active. So I do teach yoga, and with the yoga, I'm pretty sensible. As in, my classes are strong, but I'm making them more about the presence and being here. It's still strong, but yeah, it doesn't. I don't even sweat. Like I'm trying to be very, very mindful about it.
mm-hmm.
Don't push too much. Of course, when I share online, it looks like I am because it's speed up, but take time between the poses. Um, but when I go to the gym, which is where I really my like the ideal would be that I wouldn't go and lift. The only thing is that I'm not ready to give that up. So what I have discussed with my personal trainer is that it's very light weights. I don't do cardio. I don't go jumping around, so that cortisol doesn't shoot up even more. Because again, when cortisol shoots up, progesterone becomes shy, right? So um, we have to make sure that we have that imbalance as well. Um, but basically, the reason why I do yoga first thing in the morning when I wake up is because in the morning our cortisol level will go up to get us up because we need the
Right.
glucose, and so I work out the that cortisol. So I have done a nice practice on the mat. I'm feeling good. I then meditate. I've been doing the 30 days check-in, 30 days to miracles check-in every morning. I've done it on Zoom with the groups, which is a proper meditation, and then online on Instagram, it's just to check in with the mantra. I feel so amazing after that. At the gym, my adjustment has been this, not lifting too heavy. I'm just basically lifting so that I keep muscle tone and healthy bones, but I am being very kind to myself and not going to, I don't do any cardio. I don't lift very heavy. I don't lift anything, actually, at the moment, nothing more than 8 kilos. And I was lifting sometimes with my trainer like 14 to 20, which is also not a lot. I can do more, but I'm like, okay, but I don't want to. So, but now I'm like, we're not going above 8. And for me to struggle, you know what it is? I have to remind myself that I'm still working out and it's still a lot for my body because it's easy. I feel like I'm not doing anything, and it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have hypothalamic amenorrhea, that's something to pay attention to. Have, if you're in a good place to just stop exercising for a little while, it's suggested. And for me to say it, it's like, it's coming from like, oh, I see a little tail here. Hi, buddy.
he he
We're
wants
getting
he wants his breakfast.
fair enough. I'll let you have your breakfast in a minute. So that's what I wanted to share as well. And I think if anybody from our audiences wants to talk about that, they can ping us and we can have a
Yeah.
conversation. And again, this is why I work with hormones. And I always found that if I go through something, then I dive into it even more to make sure that I give the right advice and I follow it myself. And I'm going to be honest about what I struggle, which in this case is certain things I struggle with because of my issue with body dysmorphia. And I know this is not very evident and obvious to people that don't have it, but it's deep. Like you see yourself in the mirror in a way that you're not looking at other people. Um, so be kind when you make comments because it's a very deep struggle.
Yeah.
It's easy to give brush advice, but like you have to know what it feels like, and sometimes we can't if we haven't been there really.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. Absolutely. Yeah. You never know what somebody's going through, and most people aren't going to share. Most people aren't going to be as transparent as you're being. And so that is why it's so hard to really make judgments, completely off of just what you see online, because 99% of the time I'm gonna guess that you don't know the whole story. So yeah, thank you for being vulnerable and being transparent and sharing this, because I think it really helps other people when you're transparent. It helps other people. It inspires them to maybe either be transparent with other people themselves or just be more honest with themselves, and maybe start looking at areas they can improve, or taking a different path or whatever it is. So I think it's just really important for people like you to be sharing as much as you are. So thank you.
No, thank you for allowing me to share with you and the audience. You are such an inspiration to me. I'm so happy we became friends, and
Likewise.
someone I feel like we've known each other for years and we
Yeah,
actually have in person yet. We will meet soon.
we will.
But it's very, yeah, it definitely, it's hard to, because it feels like, oh, I'm talking about me, and that's not the point. Like, that's actually really like, okay, guys, I'm really sharing because I know a lot of people are struggling. And every time
Yeah.
I've shared personal things on my podcast, always the feedback has been, oh my God, thank God it's not just me.
Hmm.
And so when I hear people share their stories, I also like, oh, thank God it's not just me, because you feel alone when you go through something that people don't talk about.
Yeah.
Uh, and it shouldn't be that way, especially as women. I feel like we need to create this very nurturing support system because we have been nurturers to others,
Right.
and we have to make sure that we bring it back home to be nurturing to other people too, and creating that space where we feel allowed to do that. So I really, yeah, the compassion is great. And but the vulnerability part, I'm going to close with this, came really from studying Kabbalah, because I learned about evil speech and how when people actually say bad things about you, they are taking that curse that is sitting on you away from you.
Mm.
So when people say horrible things, I'm like, what a pleasure. Thank you. Now, like, you are saying it and you're just basically drawing it to you instead of like you're lifting it from me. It's not like the
Yeah.
evil eye only works if you pay attention and you feed into it. So, and I've learned through Kabbalah not to be judgmental of anyone when they share something, but actually very open-minded and questioning. Let me look into this. Let me see if there's validity. And I may agree or not, and that's
Hmm.
okay. Everybody's on their journey, and I think we're all entitled, by the way, to go through something, learn from it, and pivot if we need to. Because there are a lot of things that I studied in naturopathy that I don't agree with anymore,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's important. Like even vitamin D, if we can get it from the sun, please do. And I've
Yeah.
actually read this research that says if you go to a sun bed once a month for 8 minutes, which is not going to cause skin cancer,
Hmm.
you can keep your levels of D stable. So if you don't want to take a supplement,
Yeah.
because unfortunately vitamin D3 is actually not really a vitamin, it's a hormone.
Right.
Dr. Cam Popper, plugged me onto this. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought about it. I knew that it was a hormone, but of course you call it vitamin. You get used to the wording.
Yeah.
You get used to you can supplement it. But it's true that, hey, what if we can do this instead? And I was lucky all summer I was in the sun, but like a lot of people are not. But again, I've also seen in practice with my patients and clients that if they are deficient and they suffer from severe deficiency, they struggle with their health. The moment they actually supplement it with under the tongue drop, they do better.
Hmm.
I think there is definitely room for supporting and then, taking the steps that you have to take if you don't want to be dependent on supplements. So
Yeah.
being open-minded is so important.
I 100% agree. Um, yeah, the more we can get it from our diet and from our environment as naturally as possible, of course, that's going to be the best. But again, I think the importance of checking your blood work, at least, periodically, just to see if a supplement might be necessary, or, like we talked about earlier, if you're just taking one and you get your blood work and you see, oh, I'm actually getting too much, so I need to either stop the supplement or reduce it, or just adjust it in some way. So getting blood work, I think, is one tool that we can use to help us to help guide us in the direction that I think we're all trying to go, and that's to be as healthy as we can, as long as possible. So yeah, that's my opinion as well. I'm on the same page with you, and yeah, I hope this was helpful for people to hear you talk about and just to go over. So yeah.
Thanks, Matt. Now you can go and feed your cat.
He'll be happy. But yeah, I appreciate the time and really enjoyed the conversation and just, hearing a little bit more about your story and just what you're going through right now. So thank you again for being vulnerable and being open with everybody so that we can all learn from it and be inspired. And, I'm inspired by what you're putting out on Instagram and everything else every single day. So I appreciate you for that as well. You're doing amazing work, and I'm just so impressed by all the stuff that you're working on. So keep it up, and I look forward to having you on again at some point, and we can talk about whatever, anything. There's
Yeah,
so many things we could talk about. So
yeah.
yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed, and I hope everybody has a great Thursday and going into the weekend has a great weekend. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments box below. And before we sign off, can you just share one more time where people can find you?
So on Instagram at Live Lean Health or Cycles Wellness. Feel free to follow both pages. And then I'm also on YouTube, Chantal Di Donato. But if you look at Live Lean Health, you'll find it there too. And that's where we also have the interviews that we did for my podcast.
Yep.
And so, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Terrific. Thank you so much. I hope everybody has a great day, like I said, and always follow your raw intuition.
Brilliant.